Good evening, I'm Noah Park, and welcome to SoCal's best special look behind the scenes. I'm sorry, behind the screams look at Knott's Berry Farm's annual Halloween haunt. We should have known way back in 1940 when Knott's transformed from a little restaurant and roadside berry stand into a full-blown theme park thanks to the inclusion of the living ghost town. That they were destined to be the world's largest and longest-running Halloween event. For 37 years now, Knott's Berry Farm has become Knott's Scary Farm when their annual Halloween haunt event kicks off in September. And they transform the park every night into 160 acres of terror. This year featuring 13 mesmerizing mazes, 7 spellbinding shows.
Watch my tongue.
And 3 scare zones with plenty of undead just dying to meet you. But before monsters like this one are ready to hit the streets, they have to earn the right to bring the fright. And that's where Knott's official scare school comes in.
Go on, fresh meat. Go on.
If you think that's scary,
Welcome, come on in.
just wait until these would-be monsters actually graduate from what's become known here at Knott's.
And do that laugh, do that laugh. There you go. Yeah.
As Scare School.
We used to do a scare university where we do like a graduation ceremony. That's how this all started, where we'd have a whole bunch of monsters and we'd have people with monsters with caps and gowns on. But we transformed it into training the talent in the mazes to give them the better tools to be able to give our guests a good scare. There you go. Yeah. This is mine. Yeah. That's what I want to see.
Scare School is mandatory for all maze monsters. It runs for a full week before haunt opens.
Little girls and Boy Scouts, so keep it up.
So even some of the mazes are getting their finishing touches. Groups get broken down by which maze they're in. Then each scare student takes a walkthrough and gets acquainted with their den of despair.
Would you like some meat today?
But once the instructors kill the lights, it's time for these monsters in making to show exactly what they've got.
We take this time to really dedicate ourselves to training the talent, teaching them exactly what they need to do, and you're going to see that tonight. Just beg for mercy. Ask everybody to help you the first time.
Let me out!
Let me out!
Oh, they're gonna
And yeah, it's a lot more work than some people really make it out to be, especially wearing the costumes.
We take the time to teach each person their individual character, of where they work, what their character is, how they move, how they sound, how they walk. We go through the whole thing. There you go. Rotisserie!
Rotisserie or extra crispy.
It's just totally different because instead of being the scared person, you're taking over and scaring the people, so.
Not all ghouls are created equal though, so when you hear this, Scare Force, it means one of the freshman frighteners needs some extra help from a senior scarer to put a little more might behind their fright.
Grunting. Pull your head down all the way. Pull your head down over your face.
Some of these people aren't going to need any training because they're veterans. They've done this before. The newer people are going to need a little bit more tender, loving care and a little bit of a shoulder to lean on because they've never done this before.
Some people are more laid back, key. You have to hit the right buttons with them and say the right things and give them examples, that kind of stuff.
You don't necessarily have to be yelling and screaming and flailing and hitting walls. It's a lot of people stare. It's just that creepiness. And people get creeped out with that, and you just never know what they're going to do. It's the unknown.
So with the fundamentals of fright down, thanks to the scare specialists of Knott's official scare school, you can be guaranteed there's always some kind of terror waiting around every turn.
Stick around, we have more behind the screams on the way, where we'll show you how they turn someone like me into one of the ghosts, ghouls, and goblins that haunt Knott's Scary Farm every night. Welcome back to SoCal's best special behind the screams look at Halloween Haunt. I'm Noah Park. Every year, Knott's Berry Farm hires over 1,000 people just for Haunt alone. And while Scare School teaches them how to bring the fear, it's here at Warehouse P that the real transition into a monster begins. Once the monsters have their costume, it's into either the crypt or the chamber for makeup. So every year you have about 1,000 monsters coming through, but as you're saying, not all of them go through makeup?
No, not all of them go through makeup. We actually have about 2/3 of our people are in masks. A lot of them are custom masks that are fit to their faces, but we also provide tons of masks that we buy and put on our monsters based on where they're going to be located on the farm.
So with the park opening, it opens at 7, how early are you guys getting here to start working for the makeup?
We get here at 3:30. Our first makeup spot is at 3:45. Basically, we stagger our makeup artist schedules so that way we have the most people going out before the park opens. We only have a few people that go out after the park is open because obviously they're going to be the people who are staying till the very, very end.
How often do you get monsters back in for touch-ups?
Every night. We do leave our makeup room open for our monsters so that way if something happens throughout the night, we can come in and get them fixed up. I mean, sometimes, they're running around, they run into each other, and, they're sweating and everything, so we do have touch-up available for them.
And when it comes to the makeup, how intensive? I've seen some of them are pretty crazy. It seems like they might be in the chair for a little bit of time.
Anywhere between 15 and 30 minutes for just our paint and powders. We usually do paint like airbrush paint. We have regular cream-based makeups. We do powder makeup. Those are usually about 15 minutes. It's usually just highlights and shadows, and then depending on what kind of character they're doing, it might be a clown, might be a scarecrow for our Cornstalkers maze. It could be a sugar skull. For the ones that are a little bit more intensive, like the prosthetic pieces, it's usually going to be about 30 minutes because we paint the piece, we apply the piece, and then we also have to blend the piece into their actual, their face, so that way it actually looks like it's all one piece and not something that's just stuck on their face.
You mentioned some of the characters that you guys do up here, like the scarecrows and the cornstalkers, and zombies, of course, for the Virus Z this year.
Absolutely, we love our zombies.
What's your favorite monster to make up?
Gotta be the zombies. It's gotta be the zombies. Zombies actually have made a big resurgence in the past few years. Everybody's been asking for it, so this year we're giving it to them good. Well, you still look like you, but you look like you've been through hell, my friends.
Well, now that I'm one of the undead, it's time to go scare. So once us monsters are all corpseified, we're ready to hit the streets, where you'll find us lurking in one of 3 scare zones spread throughout the park. How do you like the scare zones?
It's great.
Is this where you get most scared in the park?
It's the fog, I think. Yeah, probably.
We're in a scare zone. What's the best way to scare somebody? I guess that's the best way to scare somebody.
What scares you the most in the scare zones?
Oh, just when they come up right behind you, man.
And you?
Oh, right when they come up and they're clinking their little fingers and they that little thing, love it.
This year at Haunt, the Ghost Town Scare Zone returns. And while you're there, don't forget to hop aboard the ore carts at the mine ride, but arachnophobes beware. You might get stuck in the webs of Black Widow's cavern. Now, if spiders aren't your thing, swing by the boardwalk and prepare yourself for the scariest thing on earth: clowns. That's right, the Freak Show-inspired Scare Zone Carnival is back for another year of merriment and murder. Speaking of murder, cruise through Sleepy Hollow on the revamped log ride. Just be sure not to lose your head. Then in Camp Spooky, check out the newest Scare Zone, Necropolis, where steampunk vampires prowl the night.
So what steampunk is it's as if, you know, everything was steam powered. And so the dress is very Victorian. We have a Zeppelin in there. And the Zeppelin's really cool. They're building it here. And we're gonna light it. It's gonna be outstanding. And we combined it with vampires by saying that instead of boiling water, they're boiling blood.
Well, the Scare Zones sure are a lot of fun, but they're not the only place you'll find a monster like me. There's still 13 mazes that's full of frights around every corner when SoCal's best behind the screams and Knott's Scary Farm returns. Bang! Oh, hi! Welcome back to SoCal's best behind the screams look at Halloween Haunt. I was just in line here at one of the 3 new mazes for Haunt, the Fallout Shelter. And get this, it's in 3D. Now, it takes a lot of work to create these twists and turns of terror. You can't just throw in a few mutants or some radioactive waste on the walls.
This year at Knott's Scary Farm, visitors can meander through 13 magnificent mazes. Whether you're a fan of the more whimsical, like the Labyrinth, and Uncle Bobo's Big Top of the Bazaar, or maybe you enjoy the twisting and turning terror of London, or just want to get a little crazy in the Lockdown Asylum. There's a little something for everyone, even that twisted little kid in you.
It's really nice. It's really well decorated, yeah. But I didn't expect to see all that. This is my first time, but it was amazing. Amazing.
What was so scary about it?
Well, I'm just not used to going through something like that, but what a great time, though. I tell you, they jumped out in front of you. They're eating their heads. They're popping out their eyes. They're doing everything weird.
Yeah, they do a good job of hiding out and jumping into your face.
Yeah, being startled, they're coming out the woodworks. Like, yeah. When you're not expecting it, they're like at you. Yeah, that's the scariest part.
But if you have a hankering for some real cannibalistic craziness, just enter the slaughterhouse. Farmer Willie's famous barbecue, where you're what's on the menu, returns for another year. With plenty of classic frights and a few new surprises as well.
So you go through the whole process of being in a meat factory. So they slaughter you, they grind you, and then they slather you in barbecue sauce. It's kind of like a kitschy backwoods barbecue, sort of a la Motel Hell. Saw, a little bit of Saw, kind of torture. Again, this year is different because we've actually added an overhead, it's kind of like a raindrop in the main portion of the maze. So we had to change out quite a bit, and we got a lot more real estate. So it twists and turns. we've added like battering hall. We added a cannibal cafe, as well as an oven section. Every good attraction, you need a gift shop, and we just reconfigured it to make it bigger. People loved it so much that we wanted to make it bigger and add more stuff to it. Yeah, I really enjoy the creation. When it's in your mind, it's great. They've actually gone beyond my imagination with this one. I think they've done an incredible job.
While carnivorous cannibals is plenty frightening, if your fear is more along the lines of hideously deformed radioactive freaks and brain-hungry zombies, then Knott has you covered with their new mazes, like the Fallout Shelter and the zombie-rific Virus Z.
I've been doing pretty mazes for the last 2 years. Kind of pretty, but creepy, but pretty. So I was like, I want to do zombie.
A lot of work goes into creating something like the zombie-infested little town of Pleasanton. Plans are drawn up as early as January, laying out everything from all the little maze monster hiding spots to every blood splatter on the wall.
So that's every wall that you see in here was thoughtfully, I was like, okay, I need brick here. This needs to look, like a house. We want 1950s kind of old, grotesque, dilapidated, so we'll do that there. After that, we do prop lists, audio lists. We sort of art direct every aspect of these mazes.
So ultimately, once all the elements are in, from music and sound effects,
new word from the nation's top scientists on the zombie virus that appeared just 2 weeks ago,
to set pieces and props, and of course, plenty of bloodthirsty Walking Dead, you're transported right into the middle of a zombie apocalypse, at least until you make your way out and on to the next maze.
You might want to hang around until after the break when our Halloween Haunt Behind the Screams returns. We'll take a look at some shows you're sure to die for. Welcome back to SoCal's best special Behind the Screams look at Knott's Berry Farm annual Halloween Haunt.
So far on Behind the Screams, we've been schooled in the art of scare.
There you go. Yeah. This is mine! Yeah. That's what I want to see.
Made into one mangled monster. And explored some of the marvelous mazes created especially for Halloween Haunt.
Now, what we haven't talked about yet is all the spooktacular shows that Knott's puts on here exclusively for Haunt. And to talk with me just about that is scare specialist Jeff Tucker.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. Now, we're in Camp Snoopy right now, Spooktacular Camp Snoopy.
Yes.
So let's talk about the kids shows you guys put on here at Knott's.
That's right. Weekends in October, Camp Snoopy becomes Camp Spooky, and we invite kids 3 to 11 to come down to the park in costume. We have trick-or-treating for them where they get all kinds of treats. We have a special Camp Snoopy show which goes on the stage right behind us, starring all the Peanuts gang, and there's even a foam maze to go through. So there's a lot for kids 3 to 11 to do. That's not scary. We've got non-threatening, happy monsters that are all around. There's music and fun. It's great for the whole family.
Now, I come here to be scared, and I'm an adult, so what do you have for the adults and ways of shows?
Well, I'll tell you what, when the lights go down, that's when we really take off the gloves. And the shows this year are fantastic. It's one of the best show lineups we've ever had here at Knott's Scary Farm. We've got in the big theater, Ed Alonzo. He's a great magician. He's going to do his Psycho Circus of Magic and Mayhem. We have the Torture King. He's the sideshow freak over in the Carnival. He takes a bicycle spoke and puts it through his arm, and then he flexes and it moves. I'm not doing it justice. Behind us here on this stage here in the Necropolis, we have the Blood Drums, which is a high energy drum spectacular show with a lot of great drumming and energy, and it's really good. We have a Hypno Chick, which is a hypnotist show. In the Birdcage Theater, we have an improv show, which is audience participation, and it's really edgy and fun, and the late night shows are the ones to go to. Really good stuff.
And at midnight, that's when the big show kicks off, right? That's when
we have more than one a night of the Hanging. The Hanging is our signature show for Haunt, the most popular show that we do here. 2,000 or 3,000 people per show. So we have to do 3 a night to hold all the people. And that's our big roasting of everything that happened over the past year. We roast them, we fillet them, and at the end, we take the worst offender of the year and hang them high from the gallows. And that you cannot miss.
And earlier we took a look behind the scenes to just see what it goes into hanging.
Good citizens, we convene here as we do every October to sacrifice the past year's most vile and loathsome offender.
It starts with a script and a plan. Well, lots of plans. Throw in some heavy machinery and a handful of actors, tack on several hours of rehearsal and set construction, all done in just about a week before Scary Farm kicks off, and you'll still have only a sliver of what goes into putting on the longest running show of Haunt, the Hanging.
It's got a lot of moving parts to it, which is the thing that kind of makes it a lot of fun to do. There's, lots of stunt choreography, lots of pyro, and then, even dance, music. The soundtrack alone is an overwhelming task to kind of put together and make it all work, and to do it in basically 13 rehearsals.
But when it all does come together, you have a show filled with music, stunts, and more pop culture references than you can shake a severed limb at.
Pop culture women are making a big comeback, and so there's a lot of pop culture ladies this year. The Jersey Shore cast makes an appearance.
Crisis averted and the situation is under control. You better believe it, check out this situation! My fellow Americans, I am pleased to announce...
Basically, anyone who was sort of notorious in the past year sort of shows up. It's all of the same kind of humor, lots of blood, and all of the people that you love to hate.
And speaking of people you hate,
I know who you gotta hang. You gotta hang Mel Gibson. But everybody, which it's not, so don't worry. That you do know. That's at least the fact. It won't be Mel Gibson this year. But, everybody has an opinion on that. I think the past couple of years, people have been very satisfied with who it's been. If you can think of the most annoying, loathsome personality out there, that might be who it is.
So if you want to find out exactly who they hang this year, you're just going to have to brave Haunt yourself.
Haunt starts September 24th and runs through October 31st. Just check out Knotts.com for tickets, times, and all your Halloween Haunt info. Now it's time for me to rejoin the land of the living, at least until next Haunt. For SoCal's Best, I'm Noah Park.